Hello and welcome to the Context Needed podcast. I'm Kyle, joined with Ollie and Ryan as usual. How are you doing, guys?
Hello.
I'm okay. The spider has gone. I don't know where it's gone.
I didn't actually get to see the spider because I was
It's in the walls!
I was too busy checking something else.
It's in the goddamn walls!
So yeah, we do have a subject matter we want to talk about today, but just before we started, Ollie said he wanted to tell us a quick story. That's a recent story, so go ahead, Ollie.
Obviously, as you guys know, I am a purveyor of radioactive goods. So, obviously, I made these little pots. For anyone who's happens to be watching, these little pots here with radioactive shit in them. Nothing too big, but I made them just to keep stuff in, keep them safe. And I was curious to see how good they were. So I contacted this company down in, I think they were in Oxford, seeing whether I could get them tested more thoroughly. They got back in touch and they were like, sorry, we'd love to help you, but we only really deal with businesses. We don't deal with small customers. But why don't you try contacting Public Health England? Because they might be able to help you.
Okay.
So I contacted Public Health England, and rightly so, pretty much their response was, why are you collecting radioactive things? Pretty much. But
Surprised you got a response and it wasn't left on a waiting list.
I'm not surprised with the response because let's face it, everyone's been saying this to you.
Yeah. I think it was more so just it wasn't even just that. It was because obviously I asked them a question. They didn't answer my question at all. It was literally just, why are you collecting them? Are you aware of the dangers of these things? How do you plan on disposing of them? It's like, yes, I do know what it is. I know it's dangerous. And I don't know.
That's your problem when I die.
It literally was I know.
Well, it was pretty much a case of, I don't know, but it's not like I'm going to just go, I'll just chuck it in the bin, take it to the skip.
Don't you flush them down the toilet? Or is that fish? I get them mixed up. You know, radioactive materials and fish are very similar.
It's great for the ecosystem, honestly. It makes them much bigger.
Free-eyed frogs in your pond.
Futurama fish.
Free-eyed fish. Yeah. So basically I was like, I am using all the relevant PPE when handling the materials, and I am aware of the risks, and I'm not totally sure of the exact disposal protocol, but I have no intention of disposing of them anytime soon, and if I do, it'll be to either another collector or I will contact you for details.
Also, please don't look at my previous purchase history, and don't worry about the rockets that I'm purchasing. Also, don't worry about the flammable liquids I'm using for propulsion.
I am not trying to make my own colony.
If I wasn't on a list... Go ahead.
Like you say, if you're not on a list, it's worrying.
Well, if I wasn't on a list before, I think I am after contacting Public Health England. I'm definitely on a list now.
You're on one of those, those really bad, detective shows where they've just got, pictures on the chalkboard of, suspects. It's just, all of a sudden, they get your letter, and they're just like, maybe we should add this to the suspects.
Just me. Radiation?
With a big question mark, and then a piece of red string.
I need to start just thinking of weird, suspicious things that are totally legal to buy, just so someone out there is going to be thinking, "What's he doing? What's he doing?" It's just just buying shit.
I'd like 10 bottles of bleach, please.
Have 10 bottles of bleach, please.
The best bit is though, it literally will just be it would be able to do one of those smash cuts from comedies where it's the guy at the office. It's what is he buying? There's got to be some meaning to all this stuff that he's buying. I don't understand it. And it smash cuts to you at your computer on eBay. I can't stop buying things.
Help me. To be fair, I've been pretty good after buying the radioactive. Have I shown you guys the radioactive swan?
I saw a picture of it. I didn't get to see it. You haven't shown me though.
Oh god. Danny, could you grab Reggie, please?
You called it Reggie. Reggie the radioactive swan.
Hand Reggie to me, darling. Reginald!
Yeah. Here is Reggie the radioactive swan.
He's bigger than I thought he'd have been.
Yeah, I was expecting him to be smaller.
And to prove it really is uranium glass, here's a UV light. And I don't know how well you can see that, but it glows under UV. You can't, if I get closer.
Can't quite see it through the webcam.
It's too dark. That might work a bit better. If I do it from further...
we can't tell from
we can't tell.
Well, either way. But
No, that's cool.
glass infused with uranium dioxide. So,
because you know, just Ollie things.
I have tested it, and it's a really, really weak emitter. Like it's barely detectable.
I think
whereas I've got a few
Neil
others.
said it right. Neil said it right. It's like stuff that you didn't think you needed, but now you definitely need it.
Yeah.
I was looking for a test source because I've got some other uranium glass bits which I keep in those containers because they are a little hotter. And like what it was whilst I was looking for those, I was like, oh, what there is? It's like uranium glass swan. And at first glance, like, oh, that could be interesting. It's like, oh my god, it's got the stupidest fucking face I've ever seen. I have to buy it.
Have you ever seen? Have you seen Ant-Man?
The first one.
The first one.
I have, yeah.
There's the scene where Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, gives that really ugly toy to his daughter, and she just goes, "It's so ugly, I love him," and that was your reaction to the swan.
That was pretty much my and we had to call it. We went through a few names, but I decided Reggie was the best. So
Reggie the radioactive swan.
The radioactive swan.
I just went on eBay and I was like, radioactive items. Let me search for that.
Go on.
And the first thing that appears is Fallout 76 Xbox One items !
Yeah, that's definitely radioactive. Don't touch it.
I would rather handle
people
the actual radioactive
shit now. People are selling that shit.
I just heard what you said, Ollie. I'd rather handle actual radioactive items.
Yeah,
I'm just disappointed that I haven't got any radioactive items appeared at the top of my list. It's just some shite from fucking.
There's almost certainly some radioactive stuff. Well, there will be. If there's smoke detectors in your house, you have radioactive shit in your house.
What did you search for radioactive stuff, though?
To buy it?
Yeah, how did you find it?
Either Geiger test sources or Vaseline or uranium glass. They call it Vaseline glass, for I don't know why, but that's what they call it. So Vaseline glass, uranium glass. There's loads of stuff. They made loads of glassware out of it back like in the 20th century, like probably in the 50s. And it looks quite nice, to be fair. You'll see on the pictures, a lot of them will be pictures taken under UV light because it glows a really nice color when you put it under UV.
Yeah.
But and to be fair, it's pretty safe. Like I wouldn't want to hold it in my hands for an extended period of time, but you can eat out of it.
With it against your face.
Oh my god! There's a glass clown bowl. There's a glass clown bowl, and it's. Is
it radioactive?
It's nightmare fuel.
Is it uranium glass?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, you've got to link me that shit.
You need to send it. Can you send it me through Facebook? Because I won't be able to move the Discord because obviously I'm using the cameras.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I'm gonna put it in Discord. But I'll put it to you.
So you guys have got. That's it. You've gone down the rabbit hole now. You have to buy yourself a fucking Geiger counter and get it done.
I kind of want to buy however much nightmare fuel this thing is. I might buy it just to like.
See how bad it
is.
Oh
my god, that is horrendous.
It's awful.
I've got to see this. I do want to see this.
There is a nice rooster. There is a nice rooster that's on here, which I do appreciate.
Let me see if I can just make it a bit smaller.
Oh, it's got 12 minutes left.
This rooster's only got 16
God, I hate it and I love it.
I'm gonna put the picture of this fucking clown over your head, Ryan, just so it's shown.
I've got it. Could you send me the rooster, please? I want
absolutely
the rooster.
The clown.
Can we just leave
horrendous.
that? Can we leave that there? Can we just leave that there so I can take my hat
uranium
off?
glass rooster. That's actually.
You're back.
Oh no. I kind of want to make a habit of collecting stupid radioactive birds. Oh, it's got 13 bids though. That's obviously got a lot of people after it. So that's probably going to go for quite a bit of money.
I saw this brilliant post that I shared. I think you saw it, Ryan. And it was just a post of some guy saying, "Here are a few birds that I absolutely fucking despise." And it's just a load of different birds that he just hates for different reasons.
Oh, I know which one you mean.
And there's one where, like, this bird has, like, really spindly legs and really fucking long talon-like claws. And it's there, like, this fucker is just scary and nightmare fuel, and I despise him. And it's got this picture where it looks like it's got loads of legs, and he goes, "That's not loads of legs. That's just it carrying its like kids in its wings."
God, yeah.
So A+ for parenting, but still, you're a scary fuck, and I don't like you.
I hated that image. That image actually made me feel like just physically sick.
It was nightmare fuel. Moving on to the subject at hand, anyway.
Sorry Sorry for hijacking.
Sorry.
We've been down the radioactive rabbit hole for a bit longer than we probably expected. So
I'm not gonna lie, I'm still looking. You guys carry on.
I've just seen I've just linked another swan. I saw another swan, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, so we've obviously talked briefly about this subject over multiple podcasts because we're all fans of it. We all like to be critical of it, but we're all big fans of it, and that is Star Wars. So we're all playing a lot of Elite Dangerous. We're all kind of doing a lot of Star type stuff and all the space train.
Fucking Gundam.
And obviously we've just got Ryan into Gundam, which is awesome. But we just thought we'd kind of do a podcast about Star Wars because we tried to hold off of doing one for as long as possible because we knew we'd just end up keep on talking about it. So
yeah,
we've already lost 10 minutes to fucking radioactive birds.
Radioactive birds. Well, just to get us started, we'll just go straight in. It's like 2 favorite lightsaber battles. Ollie, go.
Ooh, I'm gonna say. Oh, that's a tricky one. You know what? I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but since I watched The Last Jedi, was it Last Jedi? It's the latest one, isn't it?
No, the latest one is Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, the latest one's
Rise of Skywalker. I watched Rise of Skywalker the other day, and I wouldn't say it's my favourite, but I did actually quite enjoy the lightsaber fights in that one. I felt like there was actually a good amount of lightsaber fights in that film.
Yeah.
And especially the one on the remains of the Death Star between
That is
Kylo
a good
and
fight.
Rey. That was a good fight. I wouldn't say it's my favourite, but I enjoyed it and it's up there. I mean, number one is going to be the obvious answer, and that is Darth Maul, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Obi-Wan, because that is Kino. It's the easy answer, but it's because it's fucking fantastic, to be fair.
Ryan?
Ooh.
Qui-Gon, Obi, and what's it called? Darth Maul, and then it's got to be Anakin versus Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith, without a doubt.
Yeah, they are good choices. So, me as well, Obi, Qui-Gon versus Darth Maul, just pinnacle, in my opinion. But I'm always torn between Obi-Wan versus Anakin in Episode 3 or the final one between Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, just because it's like my childhood kind of thing.
Yeah, that was also a very good one. I'd say that's up there for me as well.
Yeah, it's a good one. I don't think I prefer the faster paced stuff. I think there's so much more they could go into in a cinematical universe, like the cinema universe, with the
well,
prequels.
hopefully they will.
Well, they're doing the TV show. They're doing the TV show, but again, they keep doing ones. It's like, oh, this is in between the films and here. It's like, oh, excuse me. Oh, this is stuff that's like not obviously main characters and main things, but I want to see stuff that's happening at that same time.
Yeah, I'd like to
Clone
see.
Wars, Clone Wars, the cartoon's meant to be really good, but I'd like to see some cinematic stuff.
Yes, I need to watch Clone Wars because I have heard good things, but like I really would like to see stuff which is like Rogue One shows the effects of like the Empire and things like that on the people that aren't big names. It's like it shows
as an oppressor.
It shows the evil side of the rebellion, because everyone obviously always likes to see like the rebellion, fight the power and all that kind of stuff. But the way you need to think about it, at the end of the day, they're at war. There's always wet work jobs. There's always black ops jobs, and it showed that in Rogue One when at the beginning of the movie, the guy that gets the information about the Death Star realizes his ally's injured and he can't escape, and it's like, well, I can't let him go because he'll tell the Empire that we know, so he kills him. And it's like, I like seeing that grey area of both sides, because there's no doubt somewhere in the Empire, someone doing the opposite to the Black Ops stuff, if you know what I mean. Like, rather than they're with the Empire, but they're trying to maybe do some good with that power they have. I'd love to see more of the middle ground area.
Yeah.
You see a lot of that in like you do see some of that kind of thing in what's it called?
The TV
Rebels.
shows.
Rebels. You do actually see, and I don't know, is Rebels canon? I don't think it is it?
Rebels is canon, Clone Wars is canon.
And to be fair, like there is some of that in Rebels. Like I mean, of course, with it being sort of aimed at kids, there is a lot of Empire bad to keep it simple. But at the same time, you do see like some of the other stuff as well, like where the Empire isn't always evil. Like you do see a lot of Imperials kind of move over to the rebellion and stuff, which is quite interesting.
I think, especially with how
people as being people.
Sorry, sure.
But yeah.
With how big, let's face it, how big like the canon is for Star Wars and the universe is for Star Wars, it'd be so easy for them to do much more grown-up stories, because at the end of the day, like it's never just black and white. There is never just right, wrong. I mean, obviously, when you get to people like Palpatine, yes, that's just evil, that is bad, that is...
He is the bad guy.
Yeah, but that's...
I am the Senate!
But that's the way his character's designed. But then you get people like Dooku, who I don't think was 100% necessarily bad, because he was a Jedi. He was a Jedi Master for years, and he was pulled across by Palpatine. And then Palpatine betrays him with "do it." He basically even tried to kind of clue in the Jedi into what Palpatine was planning. Yeah, and at that time, the Jedi Council was so far up their own arse. Oh, the Sith wouldn't have been able to come back without us knowing it. It's like, well, they're in the fucking shadows, you know. That's the kind of idea behind it.
The idea. Yeah, that's why they're so dangerous. Can I also just quickly say that I absolutely fucking loved that they managed to fit in a "do it" in Rise of Skywalker. I don't know if you guys noticed.
I did. That was great.
I can't remember that.
It was a very quick moment, but it was good.
It was a quick one, but it was definitely a "do it."
It's just that
Don't fail me.
It's that Palpatine growl, is that "do it." It's just so good, so well done.
I think I actually found a really good video of that. It was somebody edited, like they hadn't edited. They'd used the sound clip of the scene from Revenge of the Sith. But they've got this guy there, and they're obviously just a couple of teenagers pretending to have lightsaber duels and
stuff. Is this the Yankee one?
He's like, take off the brim. Do it. Whoa, Yankee with no brim.
It's two guys fighting. I remember you showing me. It's the two guys fighting, and one of them's got the Yankee, and he takes his brim off, and it just cuts to that meme. The Yankee with no brim.
So good, because he literally does the proper voice, and he's like, take it off. Take the brim off. Do it. Do it.
I mean, with that like scene, that movie has probably one of, if not the greatest Star Wars opening of any Star Wars movie, like period, amazing. Because it just goes in. It's got Anakin and Obi-Wan flying together, and it shows how well they're working together with them, like they are in unison with all of their movement. So it's like it shows they've worked together for such a long time, and then obviously they're like fly along the like underneath of the ship, and then they go over the side, and it's a fucking war zone, and it's just non-stop action, piece after piece after piece of really well choreographed and shown and CGI action, until like they finally like have this calm moment, and you're there like, Jesus Christ, I'm like 20 minutes in and it's not fucking ended.
Yeah.
It's I think what's amazing about the films as well is, at first, the first three films were considered quite crap. There was a lot of backlash on them, but they are.
As in, are you talking the prequel trilogy or the original trilogy?
The prequel trilogy, yeah.
1, 2, 3, yeah.
For me, the prequel trilogy was what I grew up with, because I was obviously way too young when obviously the first one came out, because I was only like 2 years old. But from there.
You wasn't born when the first one came out.
I was going to say none of us were.
Well, no, I'm talking about the prequels here.
Oh, right, the prequels.
I was 2 years old when the first film, The Phantom Menace, came out. So obviously, for me, that was my childhood, was watching those. And I did watch I still, to me, I'd actually prefer to watch the prequels than watch the original series, the original trilogy.
Yeah, they're much more like flashier movies, like overall, definitely.
They're more polished, aren't they?
Polished.
The original trilogy is definitely a lower budget film.
Yeah, I definitely think, like, I grew up watching the original trilogy because of my dad.
Same. Yep.
My dad got pulled into that by, I think it was either his dad or something, that took him to the cinemas to watch those movies when he was growing up, and then he showed me them when I was growing up, and then obviously when I got to, like, what was it, 99 episode 1 was, so I would have been 8 years old. So I ended up going to the cinemas to watch 1, 2, and 3 multiple times in the cinemas with my dad, just because it was this cool new thing. And yeah, there was massive, obviously, like we said before, there was massive backlash to episode 1 and 2 and 3 and like certain aspects of them and the acting style and things, but I always like looking at the way Cinema Wins talks about it. It's like, look, at the end of the day, did you have fun? That's what matters when you watch these movies. Stop. You can go in depth and talk about these things and you'll find issues with everything. At the end of the day, you can go in depth and look at John Wick, one of my favourite movies, and I will find an issue with it, but that doesn't take away from the fact I can watch these movies and enjoy it.
I don't condone publicising any issues with John Wick. You know, I don't want him coming to my house. So if we just keep off that subject.
Mate, just don't kill his dog and you'll be fine.
It's a very dangerous subject.
Yeah.
Oh, just briefly away from Star Wars, though, I did see a meme where it was a cutout from like a news article where Keanu Reeves has said he's happy to make as many John Wick's movies as people are happy to watch, and then underneath it's like an old version of SpongeBob watching TV, and over the TV it just says John Wick 57.
Well, they are doing another one.
Yeah, they are.
There's already another one.
I still haven't watched any of them. I've seen clips from them, and I really want to. I want to watch them, but I just haven't.
You've got to watch them.
There was I did see one thing as well that kind of made me laugh. Is they've got some I think they're either side series or side movies being made, and there was one that was called The Ballerina, which is going to be like a female assassin from like, it was like a ballerina style school that you see in one of the movies. And I saw in the third one, yeah. So there was some backlash to who they were picking for the screenwriter and director because it was 2 men. And all the backlash I was seeing was because it was 2 men doing this female-led movie, which was kind of annoying me. And then I looked at who the men were and realised they were really shit directors and really shit screenwriters. And I'm there like, I'm going to give them backlash, not because it's men doing a female-driven movie, but because they're fucking terrible at their job, and I don't want them ruining my John Wick universe.
Yeah, I mean, they've already done a manga, I'm pretty sure, which actually looks good.
They've done a graphic novel, yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, Ollie, go watch John Wick.
I need to watch them, man. Like I just don't know why I watched them. I don't know why I haven't watched them.
It's one of those things where with the John Wick movies, like, there's so many like movies of that style out there that just bore you with stuff that you don't need to know. Whereas
I don't understand the appeal, like as looking into just like kind of like fast-paced thriller films and stuff like that. I just don't understand the appeal of the Fast and Furious film. I'm a car enthusiast, and I've never understood it. They're like, but people say, like, oh, but they're so ridiculous. I love them. It's like, yeah, but that's like, they're so ridiculous that it's just like, why am I watching this? It'd just be like saying, I don't know.
Liking cars. I mean, I used to like cars for ages because everyone was just going about Fast and Furious, and people still.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Why have you watched it? I'm like, because it looks like shite. I mean, Tokyo
Drift.
Because
it is shite.
Tokyo Drift.
They are shite.
It's Tokyo Drift. I'll give that one its day because I'm a weeb, but the rest of them, I ain't interested.
But do you just like that for the Japanese factors? You don't like it.
Of course he does.
Like the Japanese bits. That's what I mean. It's like, it's still a shit film.
Even now, with the game, the cars I'm like interested in, I prefer JDM to an American car or a German car. Don't get me wrong. German
Oh yeah, I
cars
think that's a pretty
good, but I'd prefer,
I guess,
the Japanese one.
Yeah, I suppose that's it. Really, like that's pretty common because the Japanese make really good, really affordable cars.
Yeah, I think with the Fast and the Furious thing, I think the thing that kind of made me, I watched them pretty much all of them quite like all the way through because I wasn't like, it was one of those popcorn flicks you can just turn off and watch. But the point where the ridiculousness got too much for me was when you told me about there was that cargo plane where they used like 5 or 6 cars to stop it from flying off, and you told me like, yeah, that plane has like a £75,000 thrust per engine, and it's got 4 engines, and these 5 modified cars can hold it down. Like, it would fly off with no fucking issue. The pilot wouldn't even notice.
Well. At that point, it would be no more ridiculous to just have one person holding the plane. It's that level of just like, well, if you're gonna do it, that's equally just like ridiculous.
It's like, I can understand when they get things like Captain America holding a helicopter in places because he's a fucking superhuman.
It kind of makes sense canonically, but when it's just like, oh yeah, no, they just used a couple cars and pulled the plane down. It's like, it doesn't work.
They did that in one of the latest films because I can remember watching the trailer for it. It's got The Rock with a helicopter.
Did they do the exact same scene?
They did the same. It wasn't exactly the same, but they did The Rock getting pulled like with these cars and this helicopter. And at this point, they're just action films. They're not even like car films at this point now.
The thing is, the action films in the guise of a piss poor car film. That's what they are.
They're just like mindless shite, and that's why I don't like them. They're just so outlandishly stupid. It's the same. If it was like it was so silly, but they had a bit of fun with it and almost like recognized it, it would be enjoyable. Because it's just that shouldn't be possible. How did he do that? But like, it's actually just like, oh no, it's fine. Like,
well, have you ever watched? There was those Jason Statham movies called The Transporter.
Yeah,
I never watched those either. I've seen bits of them.
So there's there's 3 with Jason Statham, I think, and I've watched all 3. And the first one is definitely the most realistic, and I obviously give you the quotations because they are stupid with it, but they also understand the stupidity of it, and it's not so outlandish at the way it's done. Like, there's certain things where, like, because he's a transporter, he's picking up some guys from a bank robbery, and an extra person is in the car, and he says, no, you said 3 guys, you have 4. Well, just drive. No, the shock absorbers I installed were specifically designed for a car with 4 people in it. You've now got 5 in it. My handling will be off. One of you needs to leave. So it's like they kind of try and go into the whole like detail of it.
Yeah.
But then he just does crazy outlandish stunts in the car. So it's like that is where the stupidity is okay, in my opinion, in these like car movies.
There was another Jason Statham film, and I'm trying to think what it was. It's not Crash, is it? The one where it's just like he basically just has to like keep his adrenaline up or he'll die or something like that. So he just does stupider and stupider things to stay alive. Like, that's the right kind of that's so like he has sex with like a random woman in the street and then he grabs power lines.
It wasn't a random woman, it was his ex-girlfriend or something, and he's in Chinatown and he just out of nowhere starts fucking her, and when he like finishes he goes, yes, and the crowd cheers for him. It's so stupid.
That's what I mean, like, it's such a stupid, outlandish, ridiculous film that it works to that kind of thing, but where it's just like Fast and Furious, I don't get it.
Yeah, Crash 2, I think, is the one where it's the electricity, where he has to keep himself charged up, and that's where he like attaches power cords to his tongue and stuff like that.
I remember there was a bit in that one where he I remember where he grabs like power lines towards the end. I've not even seen it. I remember like my brother Jack was watching it and I happened to walk past and see that scene. But if that's the correct way to be silly,
I think the worrying thing about these films is they were. I'm gonna probably offend a load of people here, but they're shite.
They are shit. There's no way.
Many big actors in it. It's like Sandra Bullock, Don Cheadle, and like all these actors were in very good films nowadays, but back in the day, they were just in shite.
Yeah, they
I think
really
I've got a
were.
feeling though, like especially around the time like Crash, like Transporter, I think that was when Hollywood was really, really struggling with like the stories and the writing. Because let's face it, it was either generic shitty action movie, something ridiculously over the top, generic romance movie, or
Kids film,
or a book adaptation. And I definitely think over, say, like maybe the past like 5 or 8 years to 10 years, I definitely think with like streaming services, especially, like the movie kind of landscape has grown a lot because people are actually getting access now to more world movies, things like obviously Netflix having things like Ghost in the Shell. You've got movies like you've got movies like Parasite, who are winning Oscars, and like it's a Korean movie all about like the Korean like hierarchy and social hierarchy, and it's winning Oscars, which is amazing because it's showing that the Oscars are actually, you know, trying to have some semblance of taste.
When are we going to see Bollywood, though? When are we going to see Bollywood in there? You know, classic.
Bollywood have some of the best stupid action movies ever.
They are on like
actually, yeah.
Have you seen the one where it's the cop who slaps people?
Yes.
And every time he slaps them, it's a fucking tiger roar or something stupid like that.
No, have you ever seen Indian dramas? Like, I saw a clip today.
I'm not sure.
Somebody edited Harry Potter to be like an Indian drama, and with their dramas, when something happens, it's like doof, 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 and they're just like zooming in. But it's like, and it's repeatedly doing this, and this is just mid episode. It doesn't just like happen at the end like in EastEnders. This is like mid episode. Somebody will say something dramatic and be like do 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 do. Has somebody done that and edited it to Harry Potter in the first film when they beat the troll? It's like Professor McGonagall comes in, and the better part is it's the German dub. So she comes in speaking German, and it's like do 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 do.
Have you guys ever seen the pirate Chinese dub of Star Wars?
And then when they re-subtitle
basically it was I think it was like China got a hold of their copy of Star Wars early from a different market of the world. I think it may have been like a German market. So it was an English movie that they'd translated and dubbed into German, that then the Chinese people had translated from a German dub to Chinese subtitles, that then someone went and translated to English, so you can read as to how fucking stupid it is.
Yeah, I've seen it. You just see that. You see the memes of it sometimes where people just, like screenshot it, and you just like, Gordon Bennett, what happened?
Well, it's like it's when you do crazy stuff like that, especially when you use things like Google Translate. There was I think there was a video. It was like a Bruno Mars song or something. They'd got like the Lazy Song or something, and what they'd done is they take the lyrics, put it into Google Translate, and translate it to Spanish, and then sing it. They'll then translate it back into English and sing it again. But then they'll translate it.
I've seen that done with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and it's just like but they ran it through Google Translate like 1,000 times, and then back to English, and it's just utter nonsense. It's amazing.
It's not even anywhere near the same kind of like language anymore.
No, it's just total nonsense. I love it.
I found the German dub.
I've just seen,
You'll have to link us, and I'll watch that after, because that's a phenomenal
podcast.
It's so funny. I mean, I think.
Oh, go on, Ryan. Sorry.
The films, though, however shit a film may be, they've all had a massive impact, especially with the internet, in meme culture, especially like we're saying with all these things. Because I mean, we would have never seen. Yeah, well, we may have seen at some point in our lives if we did like a lesson at school on Indian movies, but you'd never really do it. you'd have like a week every year where they do cultural week or something, and then pick a culture, and you'd learn it in each class.
I think that's something that should.
This
I
is the
think that's
beauty
something
of
that
the
should
internet.
definitely be done. Like, especially like, because the easiest way of doing it is just having like a movie from a different part of the world play.
I mean, I don't know whether watching an Indian like action film is, you know, educational.
It's not about being
crime.
Yeah, it's not about being educational. It's just one of those things where like you've seen your own country's action movies or Western action movies. Just go and watch. Like it's like when you watch, say, like an anime or something. Like whenever I've shown like Becky an anime which has like a romance subplot. And like she'll say, why don't they just say to each other that they like each other? And say it's because of the culture they're in. They're very, very shy about that stuff, and they wouldn't say things like that because they're worried about rocking the status quo. Whereas our culture, it's very much in your face about liking someone most of the time. So like it helps you at least understand certain undertones of different areas, I think.
Yeah, there's still that's the thing. You learn a lot about the different places. Like, I mean, we all know that you're not going to go to Japan and it be exactly like an anime, but you get that kind of the aspects.
Wait,
and
it's
like
not?
How.
There's no subtitles. There's no subtitles.
I mean, does that mean that whenever people do something silly, they don't suddenly turn upside down with their feet pointing up? That doesn't really happen.
No, well, I did actually see someone fall over, and that pretty much did happen in Japan. That was quite hilarious. They slipped.
I'm going.
Slipped down.
I'm still going.
They slipped down a single step, but somehow ended legs in the air. It was hilarious. I was worried because it did sound painful, but hilarious at the same time.
Do Japanese people just have a really high center of gravity that's really dense? When they fall, it really flips them quickly.
I do think though that we need to. I think something needs to change about like Bollywood's action films. Though they are actually, I think if you actually spoke to somebody from there, like you showed them a Western film. Like, or maybe even Indian people who are over here in the West, they just, I think we can all be in agreement that they are just shite. I mean, like,
at least there's not as much killing in them.
Yeah, but they're just so like, it's not even the fact that well, it is the fact that they're just so stupid, but they're just so stupid that it's just shite stupid. It's not even funny stupid. Like the only reason it's ever funny is because somebody puts a caption on it and makes a meme out of it. That's the only time I found it funny. Like you watch your videos and you're just like, oh, it's awful. One
of the things I do find funny, like the only like action movie from Bollywood that I've watched most of is, I can't remember the name of it. It's that police officer that slaps people. And the thing I like about it is, obviously he plays a bit loose with the rules from what I've seen of Indian police, but he still kind of plays by the rules. From what I remember, he doesn't go out to kill someone. He
goes out to slap people.
He just slaps them so they can't break the law anymore, and then he arrests them. And like when you compare that to say like a fucking British or American police action movie where it's like, oh look, they've killed 50 fucking people. It's like, I'm sorry, but imagine the fucking paperwork after one of these American action movies. I mean, what was it? Hot Fuzz did it best. At the end of the Hot Fuzz movie, they're all there doing paperwork because of what's happened. It's like, well, there was thousands of rounds fired, so they need to basically account for all the bullets that have been fired. They need to account for where the fucking firearms came from. They need to account for all the injuries that had happened from shooting people, all of the arrests from what have happened.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
But then there is the aspect of where we don't really want it to be too realistic. You know, we're not after just realism. You're after that nice mixture because you don't want to be a cop. You don't want to get the everyday ins and outs all the time.
No.
I actually disagree because there's a brilliant movie which kind of portrays it in a bit. It's slightly dramatized, obviously, because it's a movie. There's a movie called End of Watch with Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena. I'm sure that's his name. He's the guy from Ant-Man that does the story. You know, it's like, oh, so I got this contact, and she works at the art house, and she does that story where it goes between everyone. So it's it's him and Jake Gyllenhaal, and the movie is them basically being beat cops, like patrol cops, in like one of the roughest and most downtrodden areas in America. And it's literally just like a found footage movie of them being buddies. And
yeah,
that's cool.
The concept is there, isn't it?
It's such a good movie in the way it's done, because like I remember reading somewhere as well that Jake Gyllenhaal had a massive awakening to like the real world when he was preparing for it, because to prepare for the role, he did ride-alongs with cops in rough areas to understand actually how they do react to, say, someone runs over to their cop car to talk to them. He watched how they'd react, like someone in a rough area would run over to the car and they'd obviously talk to them, but a lot of them, yeah, they would be there because in the areas they were in, it was common for them to be shot just from the cop cars. And I think it was like the interview I saw, it was like either the second day or the first day he was doing a ride along, he saw someone get killed.
Shit.
So it's like, okay, he understands. It's like not something.
That's
you
just
really...
a merit.
Got it.
I mean, like if you were able to do a ride along over here in the UK, I don't think you'd see a murder or somebody getting shot.
Oh god, no. Or it would be extremely uncommon if you
Let's
did.
face it. It would again be more like Hot Fuzz. They're chasing a fucking swan.
Any luck with those swans yet? There's just the one.
There's just the one swan actually. Oh yeah.
But I mean,
that's bang on.
Yeah, with the like how we say like we kind of like it to be over the top. That's why I think John Wick works so much, because it's grounded enough in like reality for you to believe that this kind of underground society would work, but it doesn't reveal enough of it to like make you think, but that would not work, that'd be stupid kind of thing. Like I think one of the Go on, Ollie.
Go on. I was just saying, not to mention though as well, like things like the gun scenes in it, they're still very it's all real drills that are real things, but also like it's not like just a million round gunshots. It's like they're constantly reloading and stuff like that.
Well, because it was the director is a stuntman. He was originally going to be the stuntman for Keanu Reeves, because I think he was in The Matrix, but they eventually had Keanu Reeves doing so many of his own stunts that he was able to just sit back and do the directing full time. But they literally count every bullet to make sure that he would be reloading where he would actually have to reload if he was doing these scenes properly. But I think one of my favourite bits is in the first John Wick movie is a ruckus happens, people die, and it's at John Wick's house, and he gets a knock on the door. And it's just the everyday patrol cop who he opens the door to.
Noise complaint.
Hey, Billy, how you doing? Oh, all right, John, just a noise complaint. And he sees the body down the hall, and he just goes, "You working again, John?" "No, I'm just working through some things." "Okay, well, you have a good night then." And then leaves. And I was talking to someone about this, I was complaining, the cop wouldn't do that, though. The cop would instantly be on there. It's like, the cop knows who he is. And I'm sorry, if you are just a beat cop against fucking John Wick, you would just walk away and say, "Have a good night," like he did.
I think basically.
John Wick is like, it depends. Like that's the problem. Like, it's great that film in footage is open to everyone nowadays, so they can get their hands on it and they can do it. But it's bad in the same way. But without the bad, you won't get the really good. Like when you have these bad films, and like some people could go, "Oh, but John Wick's just like mindless killing." But that's the thing. The people who've done this film have gone. They know what they're doing. So, like you say, that the director was a stuntman himself. So they've made sure it's within its bubble, within its story, within its universe. It is realistic.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Yeah.
The thing,
great thing is it's when you get those people who pay that attention to detail and know what they're doing with what they're doing, instead of just getting somebody who's like, "Oh, but what if we had this really cool scene here where he does this?" And it's like, well, that's stupid.
That wouldn't work.
Make any sense. Yeah.
I think it's one of the cool things I like about it is they didn't do the cliche his wife died and that's what brought him back into the life, because that's been overdone, and at the end of the day it doesn't work that well anymore. And I think you need to watch it, Ollie, because it basically shows, obviously we all know obviously the dog dies and that's what brings him back in, and there was someone saying like, oh, it's just his dog, it's not the end of the world. It's like, it's not just his dog though, it's a dog that his wife had sent to him for when after she died, because she knew that he would need something or someone there to help him through his grieving process. And the reason he's pulled back into that underworld is because they killed his dog and took his car. The two most important things to him after his wife leaving were taken from him in a horrible way, and that's what pulls him into it. It's not just a revenge story. So you have literally taken everything I have left in my life, so I am going to take it from you.
It's the symbol. It's the symbolization of it, like, you know, the kind of the meaning behind the thing. That's the key part.
Yeah,
I mean, it's also fucked up to kill a dog, like especially a puppy. I mean,
yeah, it's a fucked up thing to do.
It's horrible watching that scene. It's horrible.
I skip it now. If I'm watching a film, I actually skip it because I'm like, nah. I just want to see him like killing him at the end, getting them all.
Let's face it. I mean, after watching Keanu Reeves training for these movies, I think we can all agree Keanu Reeves is actually John Wick, and the only reason they made these movies is to try and pull away the heat he was probably getting of people thinking, is he actually a fucking assassin? Because, I mean, have you seen the way he handles guns?
he is. Go on.
But now he's making. They've made the third Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
So he's from one end of the spectrum to the complete other.
To be fair, have you heard him do the voice for Toy Story 4?
I haven't seen it yet.
I've watched clips.
He plays a character called Duke Kaboom in Toy Story 4, who is just like.
I was going to say, I haven't watched it yet.
He's a Canadian stuntman. And it's just basically Keanu Reeves going, I can do this. Huh, could you? Huh, stuntman, yes. It's just pretty much all he does. It's so funny.
I need to watch that. Again, another one on the list.
Yeah. One thing.
I didn't know this. He was actually born in Beirut, Lebanon.
Was he? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
One thing I am actually excited for, which has sadly been delayed recently, is Cyberpunk 2077. Because Keanu Reeves plays, I think it's a character called Johnny Silverhand or something in that. Yeah. And he's like in your like computer mind or something.
Wake the fuck up, samurai.
Yeah, wake the fuck up. We got a city to burn. It's like, okay. Okay, John Wick, I will do this.
Anybody's just the pinpoint accuracy of cool. It's fucking Keanu Reeves.
I like his motorbike company as well. They have some cool bikes. His motorbike company makes Arch. They make some very nice.
They're more art than motorbikes at times, though, aren't they? Like how
there's so much work goes into it.
Yeah, they're so expensive.
Yeah, they are nice.
They're so expensive.
I'd love one if I could afford one.
Like how I'm gonna actually have a quick look as to like how much some of these are, because
they're off the top of my head, I think they're about 30 to 40,000 pounds and up.
Yeah. I'm going to have a look.
That's off the top of my head.
I've got the site up. Give me a second. Let me.
Yeah, I'm looking as well, just to see. Because the website doesn't really give you much info, because they're all tailored to you.
Tailored to you, yeah.
Let's have a Arch motorcycle price. Here we go. Okay, so the 2020 Arch KRGT1, which has a 2000cc 45-degree V-twin.
It's their Harley engines.
Yeah, I do think they do some of their own tuning and stuff to it, because they do.
Oh, they do, but they're based on Harley engines.
Yeah.
But they do one. Let me just find it. There's a new model they're working on at the moment. I think this might still be prototyping, and it is absolutely fucking stunning.
Well, this KRGT1, how much do you think it is?
50,000.
Let me think. because I think I've looked
So
this up.
you've got 50,000 then, Ryan? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go real high, real fast.
I'm pretty sure they're like 80 to 100,000. I think
85,000.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And like that's
I mean,
for
I
a
know that 'cause I've looked
motorbike.
into it.
That's for a motorbike.
Yeah. But just look at them. It's just so much work, and there's like they just look stunning.
I think the thing that makes them nice, again, like we always say this when we look at loads of different forms of like media or like worksmanship, is when someone loves what they are doing, it really shows in that craft, and that definitely shows with like the motorcycles that they make, because they look divine in the way they make them, and you can tell they just love motorbikes by looking at these bikes.
Yeah.
Look at the Arch Method 143. That is a fucking cool looking bike.
I mean, parts of that bike are not what I'd like have on a bike, but just looking at it as a whole, you can just tell, like you're saying, there's so much attention to detail, and they're just like they've just refined it so well. Even
it's
though
like
I'm not
carbon fiber monocoque bike, just like
yeah, and that's only recently
cool
a thing for cars, let alone bike, isn't it?
Yeah, it's such a cool looking thing.
Yeah, I need to get my bike license, because there was a story of there's a motorbike shop near me, and they opened, I think Monday just gone, and by Tuesday they'd sold 55 bikes.
Which one was that? Which shop?
I'm not going to say which shop it was, because obviously it's a local shop. So,
or is it like a local business?
It's a chain shop, but it's a local one. So I'm not saying the name of it, but it was like 55 bikes in 2 days, and I've got a feeling that's because all of their second-hand ones and all of their new ones that they had before this virus, they've probably had to slash the prices right down on them so they can move them to get the new product in that was meant to come in previously. And it pisses me off, because it's like, I've been wanting to get my bike license for so long, and if I'd have had it and I'd have gone, I could have probably got like a really good bike that was meant to be $8,000 for like $5,000 or $4,000 or something stupid like that, because they're trying to shift them.
My mate actually he builds bikes. My mate does. He does something on like he builds like, because they all build a specific part, and you don't really get it much in the UK anymore. But he builds them. But the company's just been in all. I'm trying to think which company it was, but they'd just been through like all like they'd sold it on to somebody else who's now bought the business because they'd basically gone bankrupt.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's massive on cars. Like, I like cars, but I'm not as big as on cars as other people. Like, he's really big on them, but he builds bikes and stuff. And some of the bikes they make, this company, were really nice bikes. And there was a bike shop near where I worked at the university, where it was on the University of Nottingham, where they had some really nice bikes. I'm trying to think what the name of that one was.
It's not Norton, is it?
I think it was Norton up in. I think it
Norton, because they went under. Yeah. Norton went under recently.
Yeah, they've been bought out. They're restarting again, but we don't know where it's going.
So was it they went into administration and then they got bought out from administration?
Yeah,
that's good, because Norton's isn't Norton one of the older bike manufacturers from Britain?
Last,
Norton. I mean, we've still got Triumph.
It's Triumph for the ones who are on the university campus, and they've got some really nice bikes.
Well, that's what Ollie's got, the Triumph, and you got the
I've got a Triumph.
Thruxton, is it?
Thruxton 1200R, yeah. But with to be fair, like most of the original kind of bike manufacturers are gone now. Most of them don't exist anymore. Like BSA, they're gone.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I've actually just
Ariel. Oh no, Ariel's back. Sorry, Ariel is still going.
Yeah, Ariel's still going, because didn't they do cars for a bit as well?
They still do. They still make the Atom, but they make bikes as well. Again, now they make one called the Ace, which is nice.
I have just gone on the Norton website, and I've never seen this bike before in my life, and my fucking god, does it look nice.
Is it the V4S? Is it the super bike?
It's the V4RR.
That's it. Yeah, they are. I saw one at the bike show.
That's nice.
Is it the all carbon one or the chrome one?
It was the all chrome one on the little picture, but I've just gone and seen the all carbon one.
It's chrome one on the homepage, and then carbon.
They
are
very nice. That's a bike I would like if I had money. That is a nice bike.
It's one of those things where sometimes you look at these things and like where most places online, when you're looking at bikes, like say like a Kawasaki Z1000, the price is prime place, and then like you look at like this Norton V4 and there's no price on the website, because if you have to ask how much it is, you can't afford it.
Well, do you know what the funny thing is? That bike costs less than most new Harleys.
Well,
Harley Davidsons are outrageously overpriced.
Harley Davidsons.
They're shit. They're actually going out of business because they were only surviving because, honestly, boomers kept buying them on their name, and now no one likes them.
Well, they got saved by the American government, because the American government put a massive tax hike on foreign import bikes to help save Harley Davidson from companies like Honda, Suzuki, and Kawasaki. But then, especially now Trump's in, they've had to do some. That basically the government have also put like an issue on importing metals, which is what Harley did to get cheap metal to make the bikes. So Harley are there like, well, we kind of need to now have our bikes built elsewhere because we can't actually build them here because it costs too much. And now the American government is yet again saying to them, well, then it's not made in America. Harleys need to be made in America. It's like, well, you've screwed them over in every way. And okay, I'm not a fan of Harley, but
they don't innovate. They've been making the same. Don't get me wrong, their bikes were great back in the 50s. But they're still making those same bikes and advertising them as the all-new Sportster. But it's like, you can literally buy the same bike with better build quality, a better engine, better looking, and not as heavy from Honda, Kawasaki, Yamaha for a third of the price.
Yeah.
I mean, I've just been on the Harley Davidson website and none of those bikes. I'm not a massive bike guy. I'm not interested in, like, well, part of me is like, hey,
there's no variety.
But I was just looking at the bikes, I'm just like, they just all look like shit. They all look the same and they all look shit.
I hate it. They're poser bikes. They are for posing and nothing else.
I think the thing that bothers me is they obviously have someone who works for them that wants to innovate, that wants to do something good, because they had a while back they had some what was it? They had some prototype stuff that they'd made.
They have been making some new stuff. I saw them at the bike show. They've got an electric bike.
Yeah, there's the Livewire, which is what Charlie Borman and Ewan McGregor did the round the world trip on again. But they also have the Harley Davidson Street Fighter 975, which looks amazing. I really, really like the look of it. I've always kind of liked the Street Fighter look of bikes, but like, I think the Harley Davidson Street Fighter looks really, really nice. I just think the issue is it's too little too late, because they're going to have all this stuff they've designed, and no doubt when it does, if it comes out, people are going to ride it and they're just going to be able to compare it to things like the Z1000, like a CBF 1000 or a CB 1000R, and just be able to
They're not even particularly good bikes either, to be honest. No. They're not like the pinnacle of what bikes even are, but they don't even come close.
Well, it'd be like MT10s and things like that, and it would just be like, they'll have to compare it to them because that's what it's in line with, and it will just be the same thing of, it's a good bike, but it's just not on par with the other bikes that are out, and it's just like, struggling.
I'm just going to show you how unbalanced the pricing of Harley Davidson is. I want you to go on Harley Davidson. I want you to look at the price of. Let's have a look.
I've just seen it. They're
so expensive. Something like, there's the FXDR 114. Don't get me wrong, it looks quite good. For a cruiser, it does look good. But at the end of the day, it's just a cruiser and it's dressed up. And the price starts at £18,000. That's a lot for a bike. That's like top-end Ducati Superbike money.
Which when you can go even further in, so you can go further into it. So you got the Harley Davidson Street 750, which it looks to be their like entry level Harley Davidson. It can be A2 compatible, and it's £6,150. That's what it starts at.
That's not bad, actually. I will say that's pretty much in line of other A2 restrictable bikes, like for example, Honda has things like the CBR 650F, the CB 650F. That's about on line with that. It's not remotely as close to it in performance, or you could get a Ducati Scrambler for that price.
Yeah, but I don't think it's on par though. Because let me have a look at the.
No, it's not. It's not even close. Look at the CVO Road Glide. Fuck ugly bike. Starts at £34,000. Yeah, that's what I mean. You could have that. Then look at the Honda Goldwing, the new Honda Goldwing, which is less than that. It's like, why would you buy that when you can have the Honda, which is an objectively better bike in every measurable metric?
I think that's with all of things though. Like, it's just price. I mean, like, cars are stupidly expensive.
Yeah, they really are.
Like, even I've paid out quite a bit with my car. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't regret it because I enjoy the car. But I wouldn't go and buy. Even mine wasn't officially it wasn't a new car, but it was as good as. I would never go and buy a car full price like that again. I'd just go second hand and pay a few grand, like a couple of grand, rather than paying in the tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Pounds.
See, with my
it's too much.
With my cars, like apart from my very first car, I've always gone approved used through dealers.
Yeah.
So like when I had BMWs, I went to BMW and bought the used cars they had, and everyone was like, "Well, why are you going to BMW? It'd be cheaper to go like elsewhere." And it's like, one, it's actually cheaper to buy them from BMW than it was to buy them from places like Available Car and shit like that.
Available cars fucking awful. Yeah. Never use Available Car.
I got a warranty on a used car for a year that I could extend to 3 years if I wanted to, and in that warranty I got breakdown cover. And free, you got looked after. The only reason I don't drive BMW now is because the running costs of it was too much to service. It was too much to keep on the road. And when things did break that I had to pay for, it was way too expensive to repair. But even still, with the car I currently drive, it's an approved used car. When we went for look at one for Becky, we went to Nissan. She was on an Audi first, but we needed a bigger car, but she couldn't afford to get a bigger Audi because it's obviously the nameplate that was too expensive for us. So we went to Nissan and we was looking at the Qashqai. And when we was looking at the used ones on PCP and stuff, the guy actually came out and was like, "We've got 2 Qashqais on order coming here that someone's cancelled at the last minute, which means we can't do anything with them. We'll give you this brand new Nissan Qashqai cheaper than a used one." So we saved a ridiculous amount of money just because someone cancelled their order last minute. And what happens with car dealers is if they have a car on their patch, say like at BMW or Nissan or whatever, they'll have a car on their like turf or their patch to sell. Once they've had it for 60 days, I think it is, obviously BMW or Nissan or whoever is the top company will not pay for that car's storage and maintenance and looking after 60 days. So every now and then you'll see, like, say there's been a 4 Series at the BMW shop for a while and you've seen it all of a sudden go from 8 grand to 6 grand. That's not because they're struggling to sell it. That's because they need to sell it because it's costing them money now. And that's what I was able to do with a few of the cars I bought, is I was able to get them as it went over that period. So is that
what you did with the Z4?
That's not what I did with the Z4. The Z4 I actually got before they even properly put it on the website. Because I saw it literally the first day it went on the website, called them, and had like a test drive like that weekend. And I'd shook the hand for the deal before he'd even taken pictures of it again. Because the person who bought it from that dealer, had it for I think a year or 2, and then took it back to the same dealer. So they just put up the previous pictures until they could get the new pictures done. So I literally bought it before they could even redo the pictures.
Christ.
Early bird catches the worm.
Yeah.
I think that's the consumerism though of today. I mean, like to actually have like you say with that Nissan Qashqai, somebody ordered it then cancelled it. It's like everyone's just so spend a few thousand over here and there, and nothing really matters. And I think nobody really values what they're actually getting as much anymore.
Well, what probably happened there is it was likely it was bought by another company to be leased out as a company car or something like that.
And then it fell through.
Yeah, that'll be what it is. Because I think that's it. Very few people are buying, as in consumers are buying new cars. 9 out of 10 times, it's a company's buying it and they're hire purchasing it and then they're just selling it back after a few years.
There's a lot of people who do it in hire now, where they just like rent it basically into it.
Yeah,
weird.
Yeah. My dad's done that for a few cars, but they just bought a little NCMX5 now, and he's loving it.
Yeah. Mm. I think when it comes to like the consumerism, I think it always depends on. It depends on the item or the thing, and it depends on the person as well. Like, I take care of my car, but not to say the extent of say how you would take care of your car, Ollie. But that's because I do like my car, but I'm not so much into it that I will look after it, if you know what I mean.
Dude, I don't detail my car.
Not as in like detail clean. Not as in detail
through
clean.
literal woodland.
Yeah. Not as in detail clean, but like detail look after it. Like with understanding like when you need to properly maintain it.
Oh, yeah.
Like I wouldn't go to that kind of detail. Yeah, I wouldn't go to that detail. But when it comes to things like my audio equipment, that gets looked after as much as clinically I can possibly do, because that is like that's my thing. That's what I do. I've got a fucking mixing desk literally right there, which I use as an audio interface because I've got nothing else to use, but it's looked after. Yeah. Like that thing, apart from I think it's channel strip 2, the fader is slightly rough because I need to open it up and clean it, but that thing's as new and it's like 5 years old. But I've just checked the time and I've realised we're running over, so we need to kind of close it off. So to say we said we was going to talk about Star Wars and we're gonna
struggle to title this bastard.
Oh yeah, this was going to be a very difficult one to title.
Oh god, what we're going to call this now, because it was definitely not Star Wars. Actually, there we go, guys. That's it. I've named it. Definitely not Star Wars.
Definitely not Star Wars.
That's it. That's it. We've done it.
Well,
we can finish the podcast in peace.
Yes. Well, as usual, we will be back next week at 9 p.m. GMT. If you do have any questions, queries, or stories you'd like to ask us at the Context Needed podcast, you can email them to us at the website. The email is, oh my god, my word. I've been talking perfectly fine all the way through the podcast, and now I can't talk. The email is just coming across the bottom of the screen for people watching online on YouTube, but for people on audio, just drop us an email at contextneededpodcast@gmail.com. From me, Kyle, it's been good talking, and Ryan and Ollie.
Thanks for watching, friendos.
See you later, shitlords.
We'll be back again next week, so see you guys later.
Bye. Bye.